Kapoor joining you here from Mumbai.
And from New Delhi, I'm Toya Singh. We've got an action-packed show ahead for you. Let's take a look very quickly first at all of the stories we have for today. Number one, the shocking truth about protein powders in India. A study shows that the majority sold in India are being mislabeled. They contain toxins and they contain pesticides. The findings on protein shakes raise very, very serious concerns over the quality and the safety of protein powders. On TBC, we'll tell you about all of it. The good, the bad and the ugly.
What is the planet cost for fast fashion? Ever thought about what garments you buy online, where do they end up? And what exactly is it doing to our environment? If we were to tell you that there are labels now that tell you the exact cost, will that make you make some conscious choices? That's coming up on the program with a special guest.
And it's Ram Navami 2024. Ayodhya's preparing. There are huge crowds that are expected. We're going to take you to the ground. And of course, financial markets are going to be remaining shut for today.
And it's Ram Navami, so it's time for a lot of feasting after all that fasting. But let's try and give it a good TBC healthy twist. We'll tell you how to make the bhog, but the healthy way.
And you know we love to tell you about the cricketing world too. IPL 2024, KKR versus RR. What are the highlights? A historic 2-wicket win for RR against KKR. Thanks to Joss Butler's Herculean century, he was undoubtedly the man of the moment.
All right, let's start with some food for thought this morning. What is exactly going inside your protein powder? Well, doctors and researchers from the Rajagiri Hospital in Kerala and some US-based tech entrepreneurs, they went into understanding this a little bit more. They analyzed 36 different protein powders, and what they found is that a staggering 70% of those 36 samples that they picked up did not reveal the right protein information. In some cases, the protein content was only half of what was advertised on the pack.
Harmful fungal aflatoxins. We'll break down what that is for you in a little. 8% showed traces of pesticide residue. And obviously, all of these findings raise very serious concerns about the quality, the safety of protein powders that are readily available for you and me in the Indian market. So what should you buy? What should you not buy? Let's hear it. We decided, as we do on TBC, to bring on an expert. This is Dr. Amog, joining us from the Yatharth Hospital. Let's go over to Doctor and understand more. So, Doctor, thanks for joining us early in the morning. Doctor, question number one. A majority of protein powders we're learning are doing more harm than good. So, for average consumers who want to start taking powders, what should we look for?
So basically, we have to look out at the protein content. How much is that 100 gram of powder how much protein it is giving you. That is the main thing. You can also see for the essential amino acid content. Like we need at least there are 8 essential amino acids and 2 semi-essential amino acids. So that is a very important thing to be checked when you are buying a protein powder.
Okay.
And you also check on whether it is containing how much of sugars and all, whether that content is less or not. So basically these 3 things you should look when you are buying a protein. The protein content, the amino acid content and the sugar content.
Yeah, those are 3 things to keep in mind. But Dr. Amog, the problem with this story seems to be that it's not just what is on the label. The fact is you can't trust what's put on the label either. Isn't that a bigger problem?
That is what the survey shows. Even if they claim that the label has got so and so much, the label says that it contains so much protein, it actually does not have that much protein.
Right.
That is, and the companies may actually, if a legal action is taken, the company may get a serious, they may have serious issues because they are claiming what they are putting, but they are actually not putting.
Yeah, but doctor, I just want to get this straight here. You know, the issue with all these packaging is that the agency that gives them certificates, FSSAI, isn't the problem that they basically don't check if what's in the product is actually beneficial or not, what's in the bag. Their job is basically to check if that is harmful or not. Isn't that the crux of the matter?
FSSAI is a regulatory body. It can only say, it can only form guidelines to say that this thing should be consumed, this thing should not be consumed. Up to that
Okay.
much, it should not. It should be marked as an harmful ingredient. It should be labeled properly that this product has got this content which is potentially harmful, so it should not be consumed. FFSI may only come up with these regulatory things. Now, uh, the companies which forms these products, they take this and they label it also, but sometimes the labeling is also very small. They put it in a very small place so that people generally they don't read all those
Yeah.
things. Number two, there and the question which you asked earlier, that like FSSI will not tell us, they will not blame the company if they are not giving the actual ingredients, what they are claiming. FSSAI only will produce the regulatory thing, whether, as you told, whether it is harmful or whether it is
Yeah.
beneficial.
Doctor, if we just come to you with a slightly more basic question, can you just tell us, tell our family, who should be having the protein powders? Who's it right for? Who's it wrong for?
See, protein powders, see, I'm being a doctor, protein powders are actually required. Most of our patients are frail. Most of the patients are recovering from a disease. Liver patients needs extra protein. So all these protein is very much essential for everyone. And seeing the diet of normal people nowadays, we consume lot of carbohydrates. So if it is replaced with some amount of protein, it does good for everyone. So I'm not saying that all protein powders are bad protein powders. They are some of them, and most of them are good protein powders. The intention to have proteins are good only. It decreases your fat content, it decreases your carbohydrate content. It gives you good building blocks materials. So it is a very good thing to eat. The only thing is it's packaged wrong in sometimes. That is wrong. You can have natural proteins, you can have plant-based proteins, you can have animal-based proteins. The only thing is when it is processed and packaged in a container, which sometimes can deceive you, that is an issue. Because they can contain
Yeah.
contaminants. They can contain some added thing
Yeah.
also which is not required.
Okay, so doctor, you've actually touched on it right now. I don't want to scare our TBC family, but this question of contamination with heavy metals, what can this do to our bodies?
So the powder, if they are contaminated with heavy metals, these heavy metals, whatever we are consuming, it comes out through our body either through liver or through kidney, and most of the things comes out through our liver only. And these heavy metals can actually cause so much issues with the liver. They can lead to liver diseases, liver failure also in few cases. Drug-induced liver injury is a very, very normal and common thing nowadays. Previously, we used to see with only some few drugs like tuberculosis drugs, HIV drugs. But nowadays, these supplements, either herbal supplements for any other diseases or protein supplements, sometimes Chinese supplements, these all are very known causes of liver diseases. Sometimes they can lead to chronic liver diseases. Too much of proteins, again, definitely leads to increase in uric acid. So people who are having too much of proteins may have hyperuricemia. The other thing is too much protein may lead to stone formation in some patients. And again, it can cause some nephritis. So all this acute problem can be solved, okay. But again, it can lead to chronic kidney disease. Once anything becomes chronic, you have to live with it for your lifelong thing.
Yeah. That is true, but doctor, what I really want to understand is that who do you trust then? You can't trust the label because it's not giving you the right ingredients. Bhaiya, because he's obviously out there to sell you his own product. So who do you trust? Where do you go and find the right product?
So that is that the question you have asked, even we don't have answers to that. Generally, what I do is I always say that try to have more of natural proteins, try to have more of proteins which you can easily prepare yourself at your home. Eating more of eggs, eating more of paneer, tofu, eating more of soya chunks, soya beans, lean. So that is what we generally tell to our patients, to have more of natural proteins, the proteins which you can consume on, which can prepare on your. But sometimes we do have to tell them to take extra protein powders also. We do recommend few medicated protein powders, but actually speaking, after going through the survey, we are also not very sure whether that these medication powder which are
Wow.
marketed by so many companies, whether they're actually genuine or not. So I also think that whether I should also go and get it tested or not before prescribing it to my patients. So I stick it to my old things that okay, you take natural proteins, eat 4 eggs, drink 2 glass of milks, at least take 4 pieces or 5 pieces of paneer every day. That is what I tell nowadays.
Okay.
All right, then. Thanks so much for joining us, doctor. But it's troubling when even the doctors are saying they don't know what to really trust right now. So clearly, there's a lot of policy and regulation required on this story. But let's move on from that a little bit. Like we said, protein powders, the sense that we want to bring out from the story is that they're not all bad. They don't all cause cancer, as some of the headlines will tell you. There's the good, there's the bad, there's the ugly, the protein powder. And our job here is to sort of bring that out really for you. But let's move on from this for a little bit. And I'm sure one of the other takeaways from this story has been about how troubling it is to actually read labels. The truth be told, how many of us really, Toya, understand what labels are? How do we even know what these labels tell us? How many of us actually read them? So we thought we'll bring somebody in the studio who's made a career out of decoding labels and understanding what these labels really mean. He is very famous with the Janta, very infamous with some brands, I'm told.
Sometimes they say that a person doesn't need an introduction, and you're right, Sonal. Our audiences possibly already know him, especially those of you that are active on Instagram. We have with us today in the studios Revant Himat. He goes by the name Food Farmer. That's possibly how you know him. Sonal, do you want to take the first question to him?
Yes, Revant, thanks for speaking with us. I'm sure you will have a lot to say about food labels, but without getting into any controversy, since you are somebody who understands labels well, can you share tips with our viewers on what can be done? What is the right way to read the label? Is there some playbook that you have?
So I'll give first of all, thanks for having me here. I'll give a few pointers. So the mistake most people make is they just look at the front of the package. The front of the package is purely marketing. It's like a resume. You would just say the best qualities you have, not all your qualities. So always turn around the pack and start reading the back of the label as well. The problem is when we turn around a food package and read the back, most of Indians, they just look at the MRP or the expiry date. And there's a funny line saying that the longer the expiry date, the longer our expiry date. So expiry
Shorter
date.
our
Sorry.
expiry, yeah.
So if their product has a very long expiry date, it just has too much preservatives, and as a
That's
result,
not good for you.
exactly.
Yeah.
The longer the shelf life, shorter our shelf life.
Yeah.
That's the play. The most important thing I would ask all viewers is to start reading the ingredient list. And the way to do that is ingredient lists are listed in order of weight. So the first ingredient is the ingredient which is highest by volume, second followed by the second, followed by the third. So if sugar or maida is in the first 3 to 5 ingredients, you probably should not have it too often. The problem is that most of our biscuits today, they're all filled with sugar and maida.
Yeah.
And even the biscuits which call themselves oat biscuits, they are also filled with maida. They have more maida than oats. So that's the thing. So always go in order and try to find out that. So that's like one quick pointer.
Yeah.
I can keep going on, but
Yeah, Revant can really keep going on, but that's a good tip to look at the shelf life, to look at ingredients, and also to sort of have some focus on some of the names I remember that you can't pronounce. A lot of them, we don't know what they mean really, right? So it's probably a chemical then.
Yeah, so another pointer is if you cannot pronounce the ingredient or if you don't understand what it means, in most cases, it's not good for you.
Okay.
And also another thing is the shorter the ingredient list, usually the better. For example, a peanut butter, the best peanut butters have only one ingredient, peanuts. An orange juice should have only one ingredient, oranges. Like it should not have sugar and 5 other preservatives mixed.
So, Revant, you're basically breaking our hearts. We're sitting here in Delhi also and hearing you, and we're getting our heart broken. You're essentially saying stay away from anything yummy. But Revant, tell our audiences, what's the experience that got you started down this journey, this label reading journey?
So I was trying to brainstorm also what is the fastest way to get the bulk of India to become healthier. And I just feel like, if you want to try a quick approach to get both the rich as well as the poor to become healthier, because all of us are consuming packaged food. And in the thousands of years of human history, we've been eating packaged food only for the last 50 to 100 years. So I wanted to, and the amount of packaged food we've been eating in the last 50 to 100 years has only been increasing day by day.
Yeah.
So this is why I thought that I'll focus on this. And most people, even the health conscious people, the people who go to the gyms, even they themselves don't know what to eat, what not to eat. So I thought this is a very important area to focus on.
And very glad you're doing it. Thanks so much, Revant, for being here and sharing such useful tips with our viewers. So that's something for everybody to do as the weekend approaches and you go out shopping. Keep all these things in mind before you pick up the next product and put it in your cart. All right, and talking about labels, let's look at labels of a different kind and a different type now. Do you know the carbon cost of the clothes you wear? Retail, a lot of which is fast fashion as we know it now, is responsible for 25% of global carbon emissions. Fashion industry is responsible for 10% of global greenhouse gases. More than, you'll be shocked to know this, emissions from shipping and aviation industries combined. Every year, we produce about 92 million tons of textile waste.
And the worst thing is that it's also really bad for water. It takes around 2,700 liters of water to make just one cotton shirt. So every year, we produce 92 million tons of textile waste. 100 billion new garments are produced annually around the world. Just imagine how all of those numbers are stacking up. And the United Nations estimates that today people buy 60% more clothes and wear them for only half as long as they used to. So around 20% of the entire world's industrial wastewater pollution is just from this one industry, the fashion industry.
But, hold on, let's go beyond the statistics. There are a lot of numbers that will sort of shock you and horror you this morning. But on TBC, we believe in solutions. So we got Namrata Sandhu with us. She's the co-founder and CEO of Vayu. And Namrata does something very interesting. She has now started putting tags and labels on clothes that tell you exactly what the carbon footprint of that article is. So the idea really, Namrata, is to sort of educate people. So if I'm picking up a piece of clothing and I know how much carbon footprint it has, maybe I'll start making conscious choices. It's a big may, but it's there.
Exactly. So the idea is very much when you understand the impact of something, exactly like the last guest was talking about food, the same thing when it comes to carbon. If you understand the impact of it, if you know this is how many kilos or this is how much carbon this generates, then you really think about, do I want to buy this? Does it make sense? How long am I going to hold on to it? And you start to understand that a lot better.
Yeah, but what are all these things that you've got here with you?
Yeah, so what we brought is essentially a way to try to understand the carbon impact of different things and to understand the different items. So here is a t-shirt, something we wear all of the time, something we wear quite frequently. This is a cotton t-shirt, and this basically, to make this t-shirt, it takes about 5 kilograms of carbon equivalent. So essentially 5 kilos to produce the cotton, to manufacture it, to then create this t-shirt.
Wow.
I thought it's helpful to maybe understand the differences between the most frequently worn items that we wear quite often So here is a pair of leggings that you would wear to the gym. So this is made out of polyester usually. So this is about 9 kilograms of carbon equivalent. So when you compare that to the 5, then you have the 9.
It's because of the fabric then.
Exactly, the polyester.
Yeah, it's not a natural fabric.
Exactly, and polyester is made of plastic and fossil fuels, so that has a lot more carbon than the cotton t-shirt. Then a pair of jeans, something that you wear super often and super frequently. So this, a lot more carbon, 17 kilograms equivalent of carbon compared with the 9 for the nylon tights and the 5 for the t-shirt. And then something that's actually quite interesting that I think a lot of people don't know is a wool sweater is about 36 kilograms of carbon equivalent compared with all of
But dude, hold on. What is one supposed to wear then? You want us to freeze in the winter or what?
No, so the idea is very much that once you understand the impact of it, you know how long you want to hold on to it for, you want to wear it quite frequently. So if you buy a wool sweater, you don't want to wear it just once, but you want to wear it often. So very much around thinking about how much carbon is generated and how often am I going to hold on to this and how much I wear it. And if I don't wear it, to give it to somebody else and definitely not bin it.
So buy less, wear what you've bought for longer. So fast fashion, basically say no to that. That seems to be a very interesting key, very hard to implement though.
Can you tell us, we're here in the Delhi studios chiming in with this question, how does this whole thing work? Tell us. What brands are you working in? How do you go to those brands and pitch this? Can you just tell us a little bit more there?
Yeah, so essentially we work with a lot of different brands and businesses. So we work with New Balance, we work with a brand called Veja, we work across the fashion industry, and what brands basically want to be able to do is there's a lot of pressure for brands to reduce, as I mentioned, the different carbon equivalents of the different products. So they very much are thinking about how can we optimize the impact of the products that we produce, because there's very much a responsibility for the brands just as there is on the consumers. So what we basically pitch to the brands is essentially for them to start to understand their impact and lower the impact of the products that they produce as well to also play their part. So the consumer.
What about Indian brands? Are they ready to wear the carbon footprint badge with honor?
So we're hoping, and we hope to see some Indian brands start to work with us and start to calculate and start to show consumers the same kind of product information we're seeing on carbon in Europe as well.
So there are very clear guidelines in Europe now. India still lacks them, right?
Exactly. So there's very clear guidelines, and maybe to talk about fast fashion and what you mentioned, there's a French regulation that might be coming through called the fast fashion tax that says you basically need to pay potentially 10 euros for every fast fashion product you produce as a brand. So we're seeing Europe taking some really, really big steps in the direction of regulation and kind of what brands and businesses need to do.
Yeah.
Can we ask you, psychologically, do you think it makes consumers more willing or less willing? Are there certain age groups that you find are more willing to buy something with that tag when they can see it?
So we see actually a big difference in consumers across different generations. So we see Gen Z has a big interest in sustainability, in the climate. They want to do more, they want to be more active and make better choices. So we see with Gen Z, it really resonates a little bit more with millennials and less so with older generations. And we see that people are willing to pay more and also willing to buy less with the coming vintage a lot more with Gen Z. They're really picking up buying used vintage clothing. So we're seeing a big
Pre-loved
change.
is the word.
Yeah, pre-loved, second-hand, whatever we call it.
All right, Namrata, this is a lot of education. I think the whole first segment, we've learned a lot about what to eat, or rather what not to eat and what not to buy. So this has been very helpful, very shocking as well, but very helpful nonetheless. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Toya, I think we need a break after this.
Yeah, we've truly learned how to be healthier in every single way. Let's go into a very quick break. On the other side, in just a few minutes, the TVC family returns with more.
Tamilsai Soundarajan as well as Mr. Annamalai are leading this challenge for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Tamilsai Soundarajan is the BJP candidate from Chennai South. She was, of course, former Telangana governor, and she is aspiring to be a giant killer. On the other hand, in Bengal, not in the first phase, but in the ensuing phases, we have Rekha Patra, the lady in the middle of your screens in the blue sari. She is the BJP candidate from Basihat. It's very interesting, viewers, because she's a survivor of molestation that was conducted in Sandesh Khali in an organized manner, not against just her, but several other women who couldn't bring themselves to complain because of the unvarnished terror that had been unleashed by a TMC linked local leader, Sheikh Shahjahan, who was finally arrested, viewers, after a massive manhunt that extended more than 50 days. Now, viewers, both these ladies are up against tall odds. But as you know, viewers, from the 2019 elections, those sometimes become of academic interest because the unfavored sometimes springs massive surprise. Smriti Irani did it, of course, in Amethi against Rahul Gandhi. Can Tamilisai Soundarajan and Rekha Patra do it for their party, the BJP, in Tamil Nadu and Bengal? Both have been favored by the Prime Minister. Both, in fact, the Prime Minister has campaigned for. He, in fact, went out and called Rekha Patra the equivalent of a goddess slaying evil. Let's first speak to Tamilisai Soundarajan. Your Excellency, thank you for taking the time out. I know that the campaign is upon you and you've been out there every day of the week. How much is the BJP's campaign in Tamil Nadu? And I'm talking first of the overall picture, not just.
Welcome back on The Breakfast Club. We're going to bring you now quick wraps of everything that's taking place. In a bid to protect individuals from digital violation, the UK government has announced plans to criminalize the creation of deepfake images without consent. So, a UK minister, Laura Farris, has emphasized the need to combat misogyny and uphold the dignity of people. What she's proposed essentially is strict penalties for any offender. All eyes remain on the UK as the Criminal Justice Bill undergoes amendments. This marks obviously a decisive step against digital exploitation in this country.
Also in UK, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is now facing resistance over his ambitious plan to create a smoke-free generation by banning tobacco sales to those under 15. The proposed tobacco and vapes bill aims to implement stringent and very stringent anti-smoking laws, setting a precedent for global tobacco control. Amid debate, Sunak underscored the necessity of proactive measures to safeguard youth health. The House of Commons, however, continues to deliberate on this pivotal legislation.
If you use X or Twitter, this next story concerns you. Tech mogul Elon Musk has unveiled a new paid tier on X that requires users to pay an annual fee for posting, replying, and liking content. Now, the idea is that this is going to combat spam and enhance the user experience. That's what they're saying. Musk is saying he aims to foster a cleaner digital community. While browsing remains free, the platform's policy shift is obviously a strategic move towards engagement.
Apple has responded to its consumer feedback by easing restrictions on its self-repair program for iPhones. Users will now have more flexibility, being allowed to utilize used parts for repairs, fostering a more accessible and sustainable approach to device maintenance. These policy changes mark a significant shift towards empowering users with greater repair autonomy.
And India's economy is receiving a significant boost as the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, has revised its growth trajectory to 6.8%. This is its projection. It's now surpassing China. This upward adjustment from the previous 6.5% is attributed to robust domestic demand and a growing working age population. With this forecast, India maintains its position as the world's fastest growing economy.
Tamilsai Soundarajan as well as Mr. Annamalai are leading this challenge for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Tamilsai Soundarajan is a BJP candidate from Chennai South. She was of course former Telangana governor and she is aspiring to be a giant killer. On the other hand, in Bengal, not in the first phase but in the ensuing phases, we have Rekha Patra, the lady in the middle of your screens in the blue sari. She is the BJP candidate from Basihat. It's very interesting, viewers, because she's a survivor of molestation that was conducted in Sandesh Khali in an organized manner, not against just her but several other women who couldn't bring themselves to complain because of the unvarnished terror that had been unleashed by a TMC linked local leader, Sheikh Shahjahan, who was finally arrested, viewers, after a massive manhunt that extended more than 50 days. Now, viewers, both these ladies are up against tall odds. But as you know, viewers, from the 2019 elections, those sometimes become of academic interest because the unfavored sometimes springs massive surprise. Smriti Irani did it, of course, in Amethi against Rahul Gandhi. Can Tamilsai Soundarajan and Rekha Patra do it for their party, the BJP, in Tamil Nadu and Bengal? Both have been favored by the Prime Minister. Both, in fact, the Prime Minister has campaigned for. He, in fact, went out and called Rekha Patra the equivalent of a goddess slaying evil. Let's first speak to Tamilsai Soundarajan.
Welcome back to TBC. Today, as a lot of you might already be aware, is Ram Navami, the spiritual significance. The reason today is so special is because today is the day that we commemorate Lord Ram's birth. Remember, Lord Ram is considered the symbol of dharma, of righteousness, of good conduct. Now, to tell us, we have someone joining us from the ground in Ayodhya. Let's go over to him. Siddhant Mishra joining us early in the morning from the ground. Siddhant, there's a very special ceremony that's going to happen. Just tell us a little bit more about it and the entire process, because I believe it's quite a scientific process that's been done, put in place for this moment.
Well, that's right. So first of all, Ram Navami greetings to you and to all our viewers. We are reporting live from Ayodhya, and we can tell our viewers that today the special Surya Tilak ritual will be performed at Ram Temple, and the Muhurat time is 11:58 a.m. and this Muhurat will last for 3.5 minutes. So under this ritual, the forehead of Ram Lala will be illuminated with the sun rays. So there is a special technique system that has been put in place by the scientists, and through infrared absorbers, the sun rays will be absorbed, the high quality photons will be absorbed, and the light will be passed on to Ram Lala's idol, to Ram Lala's forehead, head with the help of 4 lenses and mirror, the network of lenses and mirror. So it's a technology which has been put in place in the temple, and there is no electronic device being used. So what we can tell our viewers is that there is a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement here on ground. We'll be speaking to some people. आप राजस्थान से आए हैं?
राजस्थान से।
आपने ये पगड़ी मुझे क्यों पहनाई है?
ये हमारे राजस्थान की शान है और पगड़ी का बहुत बड़ा महत्व है हिंदू धर्म में अपने।
अच्छा, तो आज खास दिन है क्योंकि रामनवमी है।
सर ये खास दिन पूरे देश के लिए बहुत बड़ी गर्व की बात है। ये सपना था लोगों का, आज हम उन्हें खुद की आंखों से देख रहे हैं। 22 जनवरी से भी ज्यादा लोग उत्सव
22 जनवरी से भी ज्यादा लोग उत्सुक है। तो दिस इज अ लेवल ऑफ एक्साइटमेंट हियर इन अयोध्या. Sonal, back to you.
Okay. That's Siddhant joining us from the ground in Ayodhya. Now let's talk a little bit more about the symbolism, the many auspicious ways in which you can actually spend today. To do this, we have with us Professor Pavan Sinha.
Hi, Namaskar Pavanji. Thank you so much for speaking with us. You know, as kids, we remember the final day of Navratri, Ram Navami, is a day when there is a lot of halwa, puri, chana. As kids, that used to be something that we already looked forward to. But as you grow up, we sort of understood the significance this day holds as well. Can you educate us a little bit about that?
See, the first thing that I want to discuss about Ram Navami, this was the day when around 12:30 Sri Ram came to this earth, and this day was so far whatever data are available, it was 10th of January 5114 BCE. So this was the time when Sri Ram came on the earth and our Prabhu came on the earth. So that is why this is celebrated with lot of fervor throughout India, not just this part of India, but throughout India. And at the same time, it is more important importance is added to Ram Navami because of Navaratri. So 9 nights of sadhana we already have passed, and then we invite the girls and boys for the Kanjak Pujan, girls Pujan, and after that we also open our Vrat, Upvas, and in Prasadam usually Puri, Halwa and Kali Chane they are distributed. So that's why this day is very much important, because we have passed 9 nights of sadhana and now we are waiting for the benedictions of my God, Ma Ambe, and secondly, Sri Ram came to this earth for the emancipation of mankind. So both these things make these days very important.
Yeah. But tell us, Pavanji, is there a special planetary setting? Is it advisable to meditate, maybe sit in dhyan? Any special things about the day?
So far Ram Navami is concerned, it was around 12:25, because the Muhurt was Abhijit. Abhijit Muhurt is usually it is from 12 to 1. So he was somewhere in between of that Abhijit Muhurt. So usually we say that the time was 12:25. The second thing which is to be considered, which is very important, that in the beginning, sun sends its rays on the earth at a particular time. And the third thing which is important, how we could know about Sri Ram's Avtaran on this date, was that Kark Lagan was जिसे कहते हैं उदय लग्न was Kark Lagna, and when Sri Ram got the birth, the Lagna was the Kark, Cancer. So he was born in the Kark Lagna, Kark Rashi, and around 12:25 p.m. in Abhijit Muhurt.
Okay, so can you tell us if there are working couples or families, what can they do at home? And this time period, what is it shubh for? What is it auspicious for?
Yes, they can do at home also. We should pranam the Dhwaj, not national flag, but the Dharma Dhwaj. So we should do the pranami to Dharma Dhwaj, and then we should distribute the prasadam for Ram Navami, and we should celebrate like some children's birthday. We should celebrate that. On this day, some people do meditation also, so I will advise them to do meditation in Abhijit Muhurt. It is a very important Muhurt. Everybody who does meditation knows about it. So this Muhurt is good for meditation, and after that some fruits or halwa, puri, etc. that should be distributed. This is all.
So, Professor Pawan Sinha ji, thank you so much for taking out the time for joining us this morning on the show on TBC.
All right, on that note, we're going to slip into a quick break. Coming up on the other side, all the IPL action. And we'll tell you all about the match that was yesterday between KKR and SRH.
Tamilsai Soundarajan as well as Mr. Annamalai are leading this challenge for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Tamilsai Soundarajan is the BJP candidate from Chennai South. She was of course former Telangana governor, and she is aspiring to be a giant killer. On the other hand, in Bengal, not in the first phase but in the ensuing phases, we have Rekha Patra, the lady in the middle of your screens in the blue sari. She is the BJP candidate from Basihat. It's very interesting, viewers, because she's a survivor of molestation that was conducted in Sandesh Khali in an organized manner, not against just her but several other women who couldn't bring themselves to complain because of the unvarnished terror that had been unleashed by a TMC-linked local leader, Sheikh Shahjahan, who was finally arrested, viewers, after a massive manhunt that extended more than 50 days. Now, viewers, both these ladies are up against tall odds. But as you know, viewers, from the 2019 elections, those sometimes become of academic interest because the unfavored sometimes springs massive surprise. Smriti Irani did it, of course, in Amethi against Rahul Gandhi. Can Tamilsai Soundarajan and Rekha Patra do it for their party, the BJP, in Tamil Nadu and Bengal? Both have been favored by the Prime Minister. Both, in fact, the Prime Minister has campaigned for, went out and called Rekha Patra the equivalent of a goddess slaying evil. Let's first speak to Tamilsai Soundarajan. Your Excellency, thank you for taking the time out. I know that the campaign is upon you and you've been out there every day of the week. How much is the BJP's campaign in Tamil Nadu, and I'm talking first of the overall picture, not just of your constituency, leveraging Prime Minister Modi's brand equity?
I thank our Honorable Prime Minister and all the ministers and the national leaders who have been visiting Tamil Nadu quite often.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. Now today is also an occasion in which people who've been fasting during the period of Navratri, they'll be breaking their fast. And the process of breaking your fast is itself a very, very special one. There are do's, there are don'ts, there's a healthy way to do it. And to break all of this down, on the show, we have with us the functional nutritionist, Mugdha Pradhan.
Hi Mugdha, good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Club. I quickly want to understand from you, the feast that comes after the fasting is quite a heavy one. A lot of stuff that we eat is either deep fried or it's got potatoes or it's very carb heavy. And I've always wondered if it's really doing a detox to our bodies at all. Is that true?
Not at all. So even the concept of fasting, like if you look at it from the word itself, it's meant to be a period where you're not giving your body any food. Like you're literally giving your digestive system a break. But we don't do that when we do our religious fast. But not that I'm going to ask people to just stay off food. But there are ways to eat or other foods that you can eat that will serve your body better. So a lot of people, for example, do the sabudana khichdis because they consider they are like legit and okay for a fast. But there are no nutrients there. It's just carbs. And if you load your body with carbs first thing in the morning, you're going to feel sluggish. You're going to feel lethargic. You're not getting any nutrients. So as an alternative, you could do something like an upma made with barnyard millet or the varai rice that's there in Maharashtra also. So you can use that. Or instead of doing just aloo, because potatoes again are so carby and like literally nothing there in them, you could use things like raw bananas. So raw bananas are great. They have a lot of fiber, they have a lot of potassium, and they serve as prebiotics for your gut bacteria. So they'll help your digestion even more. So you could use raw bananas to make cutlets, potatoes instead of aloo, because sweet potatoes still have better nutrients in them. But the goal here being with breaking a fast, it's not just about going into this feast beast mode where now you can eat everything and deep fried stuff.
Let me just tell our audiences, you're saying what's the healthy, what's the unhealthy that we can now substitute with healthy. What exactly are you saying? Just lay it out for us.
So what happens right now when I gave you these examples, some of them were foods that that people eat during fasting itself, like sabudana khichdi, something that you would eat during a fast. These are definitely not good for your body, not healthy at all. So the first few examples that I gave were substitutes, like you could switch to these alternatives while staying on a fast. When you're breaking a fast, like we just heard this gentleman before speak of aloo, halwa, puri, and all of those things, right? Now, these might be traditional foods. These might be things that maybe your moms, grandmoms, everyone made for you, but they're extremely unhealthy for your body. They're deep fried in seed oils, which then leads to inflammation, insulin resistance. And India is the diabetes capital of the world now. We do not want to participate in that effort anymore.
Okay.
So you switch from eating those unhealthy foods to the ones that I just suggested.
Okay.
Even something as simple as fruits are great to break your fast. Then your body feels better with that.
Mugdha, great tips over there on healthy substitutes as well, but on TVC, we don't believe in just giving solutions. We actually make it simple for our people, right? So I knew you were going to give us some healthy options. So we got Chef Sneha also with us on the program to tell you how to actually make it. So go give it a try.
Hello everyone, today we're diving into a nostalgic recipe but with a healthy twist. You remember when we were young, our moms and dadis used to make some puris, halwa and chana during Navratri. That's exactly what we're making but healthier. But as adults now, we finally understand the importance of keeping our food lighter, and that's exactly how we're going to be cooking this today. So usually there are two types of halwas that are made, any one kind, either suji or atta. Today we're making atta halwa, and you can follow the exact same recipe for suji halwa as well. And we're making this without any refined sugar. So let's get started. Add in atta and cook till it becomes fragrant and slightly browns. So this is currently on low flame, and you have to remember to keep stirring continuously so that you don't burn the atta. Now I'm going to add a small pinch of cardamom and mix it again. Turn the flame off and now finally add in water. Instead of using refined sugar, I'm using date palm jaggery or Nolen gur. You can use date syrup or even mashed dates for the sweetness. So once it stops sticking to the pan anymore and becomes really nice and glossy, you know that this is done. Now that the halwa is done, we're going to move on to the chana. Moving on to the kala chana, you know how we're making this healthier? We're using zero oil or ghee in this. So let's get started. So now I'll add 1 tej patta, ginger and green chilies. I'm dry roasting bay leaf with some chopped ginger and green chilies. While that is roasting, let's make our masala mix. I keep this really simple by just mixing the masalas and sauteing it. You'll just see how. Mix together jeera powder, haldi powder, red chili powder, amchur, coriander powder and some garam masala. Add some water to this and mix this well. Add this to the pan and saute for about 2 minutes or till the water slightly evaporates. Add the boiled chana along with its water to the pan and now cook till the water completely dries up. Now we're just going to cook this until the gravy dries up and your kala chana will be ready. Did you just see how simple that was? Chop up some fresh coriander and garnish your kala chana with this. Now that our halwa and chana are ready, we're going to start making our puris. And I'm sharing a super cool trick with you where these are not deep fried but they are air fried. Mix atta, curd. Now add a little bit of salt. Now add some water, but add it little by little because you don't want your dough to become super soft. We are going to knead it till it's semi-hard. Now that the dough is ready, we're simply going to cover this and let this rest for about 10 minutes. Till then, you can just wash up your hands and start prepping for the next step. Place a kadhai on heat. Now fill this up with water. And while the water is boiling, you can now start to roll out your puris. Now that the water has come to a really good boil and our puri water for about 30 to 40 seconds. Once you've cooked it, we're just going to remove the extra water. Now we're going to air fry these cooked puris for about 8 minutes and your perfect puris will be ready. While the puris are cooking, we're going to start plating. So I'm going to start with chopping almonds. These are roasted. Usually they are fried, but I've roasted it because we're obviously keeping it healthier. Now I'm going to add the halwa to a bowl to shape this nicely and press this down. Now flip it on the plate you'll be serving it on. Ready kala chana. And now just look at how beautifully fluffed up your puris are. I hope you enjoyed watching this and I really hope that you make this for yourself and try this delicious meal because I'm sure it's going to remind you of your childhood and you will feel completely guilt-free eating this. So make sure to try this and dig in.
Wow, puris in a kadhai full of water and not ghee is a first and definitely should be tried. I can't wait to do that. Before we indulge any further, let's also bring you the highlights from IPL from yesterday. KKR versus RR. Jamie Alter has all the details.
What a match, what a thrilling match. It went down to the wire. 100 from Sunil Narine, his first in the IPL of just 55 balls. You thought, 223? KKR have got this in the bag, but no, despite the asking rate, despite the wickets that kept falling, Joss Buttler stood up. He's been battling with form. We saw him get 100 a few matches ago to finish off a chase, but overall he just did not look like the Joss Buttler that so many RR fans and Indian cricket fans for that matter would have imagined. But come the hour, up stepped Joss the Boss Buttler, batted 20 overs, took the game right down to the last ball. The asking rate kept going. At the 10 over mark, Joss Buttler was just 32. You wondered, did he have enough gas in the tank? Could RR go the distance? Wickets kept falling. There was just not enough support for Joss Buttler. But the Iceman, how focused, how dedicated was Joss Butler to his task. He didn't break a sweat. He waited for those big overs and he got them. First, he hit Mitchell Starc for a 6 and a 4. Then he hit Harshit Rana for 19 runs in the 19th over. And that left Joss Butler to get 9 runs in the last over. Shreyas Iyer had a huddle, decided, do I go for pace, do I go for spin? He decided to take pace off and he went for Varun Chakravarti. But the first ball was hit for 6. A few dot balls just to keep things interesting as Joss Butler kept on turning down singles, but then he got a double off the second last ball of the match and then finished it off. A chase of 224 with Joss Butler batting 20 overs. That, anyone watching, is how you finish off a chase. The concept of batting 20 overs in the T20 game has really been debated. We've seen websites and news channels and newspapers and social media, a lot of people debating, discussing the value of batting 20 overs. What should the ideal approach be? What should the ideal strike rate be? How do you define an innings, a match-winning innings when it comes in the first innings and then one in a chase? To my mind, the way that Joss Butler batted yesterday, finishing off a chase, a stiff chase, 224, when the next best was what? 23, I think, from Robman Powell. Wickets falling, not enough support, a very fine bowling attack to cope with. But that to me was the prototype of how an opener, if he wants to bat deep and bat 20 overs and get 100, should be doing the job. Nerve-wracking at the end, especially for Rajasthan Royals fans as they watch the match toss and turn and slip and ebb and flow, all these adjectives we can use to describe that chase. But in the end, the man, Joss Butler, stood up. And this is why I said this when I was on Cricket Next. In the preview show yesterday, we were all of us panelists on Cricket Next and News 18 were debating the pros and cons and the merits of both KKR as well as Rajasthan Royals. And I made a point. I said, you know what? The fact that Rajasthan Royals are still number 1 on the points table with so many players not firing. I mean, look at Yashasvi Jaiswal. He's been very bad this series. And yesterday as well, another low score for him. You know, we've seen Ashwin not getting wickets. We've seen Joss Butler. Yes, he got 200s, but the form has been very, very inconsistent, you know. But despite that, you know, with even someone like Trent Bolt, who was hardly bowling 2-3 overs, my point was in yesterday's preview show, right here on this very platform, that if you're able to stay number 1 in the IPL without so many core players firing, when these core players start to fire, you're going to become an even more dangerous team. And now, yes, Ashwin didn't do anything. Yes, Trent Bolt was slightly off, and yes, Jaiswal didn't click, but the fact that Butler could stand tall and take this team to a thrilling win, it just shows what a well-oiled and settled, balanced unit this Rajasthan Royals team is. And make no mistake, this team is going to the playoffs, and with a little bit of luck, a little bit of form, they might end up winners of IPL 2024.
All right, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of The Breakfast Club. We told you what to eat, what not to eat, what packet to buy, what packet not to buy, what clothes to pick up, what clothes not to pick up. If you're left with any further questions, please send us feedback.
My mind is still stuck on those air-fried puris, as I'm sure yours is too. It's 9 a.m. and I'm like, puri khate hain. But yeah, we'd like to call and end our show with all of you. Thank you for staying with us over the last 1 hour. Goodbye from us here at TBC.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Tamilsai Soundarajan as well as Mr. Annamalai are leading this challenge for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Tamilsai Soundarajan is the BJP candidate from Chennai South. She was, of course, former Telangana governor, and she is aspiring to be a giant killer. On the other hand, in Bengal, not in the first phase but in the ensuing phases, we have Rekha Patra, the lady in the middle of your screens in the blue sari. She is the BJP candidate from Basihat. It's very interesting, viewers, because she's a survivor of molestation that was conducted in Sandesh Khali in an organized manner, not against just her but several other women who couldn't bring themselves to complain because of the unvarnished terror that had been unleashed by a TMC-linked local leader, Sheikh Shahjahan. who was finally arrested, viewers, after a massive manhunt that extended more than 50 days. Now, viewers, both these ladies are up against tall odds. But as you know, viewers, from the 2019 elections, those sometimes become of academic interest because the unfavored sometimes springs massive surprise. Smriti Irani did it, of course, in Amethi against Rahul Gandhi. Can Tamilsai Soundarajan and Rekha Patra do it for their party, the BJP in Tamil Nadu? Both have been favored by the Prime Minister. Both, in fact, the Prime Minister has campaigned for. He, in fact, went out and called Rekha Patra the equivalent of a goddess slaying evil. Let's first speak to Tamilsai Soundarajan. Your Excellency, thank you for taking the time.
Good morning, viewers. Hello and welcome to our morning news show on CNN News 18. With just 2 days left until the Lok Sabha elections 2024, world's largest democratic exercise with a staggering 97 crore voters gearing up for 7 phases of voting spanning from mid-April to early June. I'm Kohina Sharma and I'll take you through all the latest news and updates on this historic event over the next 60 minutes. But first up, we are tracking some breaking inputs. Well, Twitter says, the X platform says that the Election Commission of India has asked them to remove certain set of tweets of politicians and the parties. Now, they've removed them and said that we disagree with these actions, and according to the top Election Commission sources revealed to CNN News 18, they've suggested that we can suo moto block what we consider offensive, derogatory social media posts. So these are the latest inputs that we are tracking in, and according to the top Election Commission sources have revealed that they can suo moto block what they consider offensive and derogatory social media posts. Now, joining us on the broadcast are our senior colleagues Aman Sharma and Pallavi Ghosh. A very good morning to both of you. Well, my very first question goes to Pallavi. Pallavi, can you clarify the specific reasons cited by the Election Commission of India for requesting the removal of these 4 tweets from the politicians and the political parties?
So, Kohina, the Election Commission has a sole prerogative and the responsibility to ensure it's a level playing field, and that the social media posts or any comments by the leaders are not considered to be derogatory in nature. For that, the EC doesn't require anyone else's permission for that. And therefore, what EC sources have told us is that we have every right to take suo moto decision. It's not that we are told by the government to say so. So it's absolutely incorrect for the government to be blamed. Well, in this specific context, what happens is either complaints are flagged off or it comes to a notice of the Election Commission itself. And it's across social media platforms. It could be X, it could be Instagram, Facebook, and so on and so forth. Even WhatsApp, even those WhatsApp messages which are now going at broadcast, even that can come to a notice of the EC, and the EC can pull up the concerned person or the people who are behind it. Well, in this specific cases, what we are being told by the EC sources is that it was flagged off in some cases, or in most of the cases, they have their own team. They found it objectionable, and that is the reason why they asked them to take off. The X has always made this point very clear, and I remember when Elon Musk had taken over, he had actually given a soundbite when he said that while we may not agree to this kind of monitoring, but at the same time, or censorship as some would call it, we have to follow the rules of the country in which we operate. And therefore, we have to follow the rules, and that's exactly what X has done in this case.
Right, Pallavi, thank you so much for bringing in all those details. Well, now we are cutting across to Aman. Aman, help us understand, are there any established protocols or guidelines that the microblogging website X is following at the moment in evaluating the legality and appropriateness of these political posts that are being posted on its platform?
See, Kohina, the model code of conduct which is in place, the Election Commission of India is in charge of that. It is very clear in that, any post or any campaign which is criticism of the private life of the candidates or the leaders contesting elections or are part of the political campaign, or any criticism which is based on unverified allegation. This is something the ECI does not tolerate, and that's, that is why even the social media is under a clear scanner. And these requests which went from ECI to the Twitter platform went on April 2nd and April 3rd, where ECI asked the 4 posts, and these 4 posts, mind you, Kohina, are from all political parties. It is not just the opposition. One post was by the Aam Aadmi Party, another by the YS RCP, another by TDP President Chandrababu Naidu, and one by Bihar's Deputy Chief Minister and State BJP President Samrat Chaudhary. All these 4 posts have been taken down on these provisions that you can't criticize the private life of a candidate or a leader, and you can't base criticism based on unverified allegations, because that misinforms the voter and the reader on the ground. So that is the reason that these posts have been taken down. Of course, Twitter has said that it does not agree with these actions and maintains that the freedom of expression should extend to these posts and political speech in general. But in India, the MCC is very, very clear. It's very, very strict. Even to media, it's very, very strict that you can't publish unverified information. And these tweets have been taken down in India, but they are visible from non-Indian internet connections, of course.
Right, Aman. Thank you so much for bringing in all those details. We'll continue to track this story as the day progresses and we get more updates and reactions on this. But right now, shifting our focus. Well, months after historic Pran Pratishtha of Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, this will be Ram Lala's first Ram Navami at his newly built home. Now, the son will kiss the Lord Ram's forehead in a ritual known as Surya Abhishek or Surya Tilak. The ritual will take place at around noon today. And now during the ritual, the sun's rays will be focused on Ram Lala's forehead as a Surya Tilak. It is also significant because Lord Ram is from the Ishwaku clan, believed to be the descendants of the sun or Surya Vanshis. Now scientists from the Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee, were roped in to design the Surya Tilak mechanism.
ये रामनवमी का प्रसाद के रूप में 56 भोग का हम लोग आयोजन किए हैं। 56 भोग का मंदिर में भोग लगा करके ये प्रसाद का वितरण करेंगे।
56 भोग में क्या-क्या है?
56 भोग में 56 तरह के आइटम हैं और वो वहाँ भोग लगेगा, उसी आइटम में थोड़ा-थोड़ा भाग करके पैकेट हर व्यक्ति को दिया जाएगा।
ये रामनवमी के उपलक्ष्य में राम मंदिर में 56 भोग संस्था के द्वारा लग रही है और मंदिर परिसर से ही वितरण किया जाएगा। कारसेवकपुरम में बन रहा है और ये सुरभि सोन संस्था के द्वारा संचालित किया जा रहा है।
कितनी संख्या में बन रहा है बता दो, कितनी शुद्धता के साथ?
शुद्धता तो 100% है।
सौभाग्यशाली हम लोग तो ये मानते हैं कि हम लोग को ये अवसर आया मिला और हम लोग अपने बहनों के साथ भाई ये काम कर रहे हैं और करते रहेंगे आगे तक।
Well, we turn to our on-ground reporter in Ayodhya for the latest updates. A very happy Ram Navami, Siddhant. Can you describe the atmosphere in Ayodhya at the moment? How is the city preparing itself for the Ram Navami inside and around the Grand Temple for the first time?
Well, it's a big day. It's a big day. First of all, Ram Navami greetings to you and all our viewers. I am blessed to be in Ayodhya again. I was in Ayodhya on 22nd of January also. I witnessed that historic day. I still remember the excitement, the buzz in the markets of Ayodhya, and today I can witness the same. In fact, behind me you can see the Bhandara going on. Sea of people walking towards Ram Temple. In fact, we are also walking towards the Ram Temple because we have to reach before Surya Tilak rituals will begin. People are coming here in large number. Ram Navami is celebrated to honor the birth anniversary of Lord Rama, and this time it is for the first time that after Pran Pratishtha, Ayodhya city is celebrating Ram Navami. So if you have time, we can go and perhaps speak to people and we'll see that what is being distributed in Prasad and how is the excitement here in Ayodhya. We'll be talking to some people. We'll try to understand what's the mood here on ground. This is the Dharmpath where we are reporting from. It's Dharmpath is the entry to the Ayodhya city. हाँ सर, क्या माहौल है? क्या माहौल है? बढ़िया चल रहा है। क्या सेवन क्या कर रहे हैं?
प्रसाद ले रहे हैं।
प्रसाद क्या है?
आलू की सब्जी और पूड़ी।
पूड़ी है, सब्जी है और चावल भी दिख रहा है। हाँ? ठीक है भोजन। दर्शन हुए नहीं हुए या फिर भोज